That's right, baby. We're back.
Welcome back in, guys. It is Paladev, and I cannot believe we've reached this point. But you know what? As you saw in the thumbnail, we may seriously have a pricing problem. Guys, holy crap. At the time of this upload, that's RAM. That is freaking RAM. That's seriously that's pretty close to like a 200% increase on RAM. So as somebody who might be a little newer to the PC space and everything, please hold off. Please hold off on any new build right now, and especially with this is like over the whole Black Friday promos that I snipped this. But it's not just RAM pricing that's going to create a problem. This will create a problem for what we're going to talk about next, and primarily, and that is, looked like IGN put out a little article talking about how Valve essentially confirmed on the FPS podcast, but they're trying to be competitive in pricing, but also that their strategy isn't really inclusive of taking a hit. So some are questioning the strategy because essentially, like the article says, I mean, they don't plan to subsidize. They don't plan to play the console way. So this would line up more in line with a PC, and that's why I opened this in large part with the price of RAM, because this will likely impact the Steam machine. This will likely, as long as the AI boom continues to be ridiculous, impact PC gaming in general. Whether you're doing builds, this could potentially impact GPU and any onboard RAM for GPUs as well. So if we read the article, Valve has provided the strongest indication yet that the Steam machine price will be set in line to similar performing PCs. With that in mind, and confirmed it has no plans to subsidize the hardware like console manufacturers do by taking a loss, essentially. Eating a cost to kind of get their foothold in the market. Now, the Steam machine, as we've talked about, this is just going to kind of gloss over that, but it is like it's a mid-gen entry into the PC gaming realm, if you will. So a lot of people have already said it's probably not going to be clocking past like a PlayStation 5 or anything like that, just by what's inside. And then the article does mention like Linus was there and kind of mentioned price point just to kind of gauge and feel the room. I'm sure Linus knew they weren't going to give away the price to him, but you can kind of get a sense for body language and everything, and it wasn't sounding too great at the mention of around $500. But yeah, then we had basically a cast go down, frames per second FPS cast, talking with a few developers as well, also kind of probing on that price, and essentially kind of got the same kind of overall, we're kind of gearing for that more PC centric, right? Looks like IGN's article in particular talks about Skill Up, Valve's Laurent Yang and Pierre-Loup Griffiths, which I probably just totally said incorrectly. But they did talk about the price of the Steam machine without actually confirming what it is. That seems to be par for the course. The conversation began with the software engineer confirming the Steam machine is more powerful than 70% of gaming PCs. And that's based off of like a Valve evaluation survey and the power and how great the the 10 series card still is for or cards are still for 1080p gaming. I would imagine the majority population of PC players haven't like natively locked into 1440p, and it's probably in large part because yes, a lot of PC parts are expensive now more than ever. So But yeah, as they registered on their hardware survey, in terms of the GPU level, they said we've looked at the numbers, part of specing the machine, so it's possible to have evolved a little bit over time, but I think ballpark it's almost there. He then goes to say fans should expect the Steam Machine price around the same as if you were to build a PC from parts to get basically the same level of performance. Now, on average, if you were to get on PC Part Picker to do this sort of thing, it's in general, you're probably, and this is not taking in the giant boost in cost to RAM. In general, a lot of times you can get out of there with, maybe 700-800 and have something that's going to slug really well in its weight class. Now, if that's what we're talking about, but this machine isn't going to be kicking as heavy as like a base PS5, that's not good. And I know the open platform nature again of just Valve in general with the Steam Deck and everything does have people kind of salivating, and it is appealing to be able to have a device that kind of does everything. But also at the same time, if you are looking at a competitor in the space, whether you're trying to make a like dent in the console market or not, they would still be a competitor in Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo. And sure, their ecosystems might be a little bit more closed, but I mean, if you're looking at a PS5 coming in at, $400 on like a Black Friday promo, or even worse so, like if this thing's coming out around an $800 price tag and we're looking at a PS5 Pro for $750 without a disc tray, mind you, so you got to do a little extra legwork, but still, if you're playing in that pricing wheelhouse for these platforms, it's like, well, the PlayStation 5 is going to, at least hardware-wise, likely dust what the Steam Machine has to offer. And with this form factor being what it is, a lot of people may not have the opportunity to upgrade GPUs and CPUs as easily as just building within your own case. So pricing, as we've said before, and as I'm gonna say again, pricing is the key for this thing. And honestly, like, from what I'm seeing here, that's at least what they're alluding to. They haven't come out and like outright confirmed anything, but it's not looking great, especially with now AI and the on again, off again thing with like tariffs and stuff impacting pricing. So even IGN says here, within the context that they provided, the Steam Machine will likely cost above $750, which I just alluded to is where the PS5 Pro is. Like, and IGN even suggests right here it might cost $700 to $800. To put that into perspective, the base PS5 with a disc drive is $549. Right? So, and I mentioned the PS Pro is that same $750. So that's kind of, I don't like that. And again, they haven't gone public with anything like that, but pricing is going to be what matters heavily for this thing. But yeah, finishing out, Scale Up did ask Valve to rule out the Steam Machine being subsidized. Then like Valve is not going to go into this thing and they're going to eat a big loss or something like that. Kind of trying to get a feel for where their headspace at, and the response was no, it's more in line with what you're going to expect from the PC market. Obviously, they'll probably try to cut down where they can, and it even says here, they want it to be a good deal, but I will tell you right now, if this comes out at the cost around a PlayStation 5 Pro, in my opinion, it is dead on arrival, especially when we're looking around. And yes, I'm well aware it's supposed to just run circles around the Steam Deck and everything, but hey, we're talking about Black Friday right now at the time of this upload, and you know what? The Steam Deck, its base model, that baby right there, is on sale. It is on sale for, I believe, $319. So If you're trying to get a little bit of that freedom and you're willing to take a hit, dude, there it is. Get in the door. Because there will be more affordable options if they end up deciding not to take a hit on this. It does really suck kind of getting this information, I'm not gonna lie, because, you know, we all want it to be a good deal. Everyone in the space knows that the Steam machine could potentially bridge this gap from PC and console, and kind of really, as a hybrid, unify these kind of systems, and that could be the more of the traditional gaming future that we see moving forward. But if you go premium the way that we've heard from other companies talking about potentially going premium, then this, I fully expect this to be DOA, and I will encourage everybody, as I have since I obtained one, get a Steam Deck, because that's what's going to matter at the end of the day. Anyway, gang, I am going to wrap this up, but let me know, what do you think about kind of these responses, what IGN put out, and Skill Up and everything like that? Like, what are we thinking about this? Because honestly, it's a little bit rough, at least in my opinion. But I do always want to hear what you guys have to say, and I will see you in the next one.